A few weeks before Rosh Hashanah, my boys and I, and Andrew and Jonathan will always be my boys, we went to Israel to join in the celebration of the son of Stacy and Louis Schwartz. It was a marvelous event. Whoever thought that a month later, the chassan, the groom, would be serving in the Israeli army in places unknown. While in Israel, we had some free time, and we thought about where we should go and what should we go see. And I said and insisted that we go to visit the city of Hebron, where you find the Ma'arat HaMachpelah, the cave of the patriarchs and matriarchs. That place has special meaning to me. The place and its purchase is recorded in this week's Sedra, which happens to be my Bar Mitzvah Sedra. And to this day, I still have memorized the first part of that Torah portion, which describes how Abraham, seeking a burial place for Sarah, purchases this place in Hebron after paying an exorbitant fee. But the Midrash tells us an interesting aspect regarding this sale. The Midrash tells us that the nations of the world can never argue about the Jewish rights to ownership of three places, because they're all written in the Bible, in the Torah. Here, the Torah clearly tells us that Abraham bought this land in Hebron. Later on, we're told that Yosef bought Shechem. And in the book of the prophets, we find recorded that King David purchased the city of Jerusalem. Three places, all of which we paid for, all of which, in a sense, have the deeds of purchase inscribed, recorded in the Bible, all of which our sages therefore said no one could ever claim to be theirs except we Jews. The three, Hebron, the second, Shechem, called Nablus, and the third, Jerusalem. We paid for all three, and yet today all three of these cities, Hebron, Nablus, and Jerusalem, Arabs in some European countries claim Israel has to give up. They don't belong to us. They're occupied territory. But we paid for them. So I wanted to go back to Hebron. I hadn't been there for many years. And I'm at the stage in life where I don't know when the next time is that I'll be able to go to visit the cave of the matriarchs and patriarchs that I read of at my bar mitzvah. I also went to Hebron because of something that occurred many years ago that made a lasting impression on me. Let me tell you about a man named Alex Gross. It was in 1965 when I graduated from college that I last saw Alex Gross. I had gone to the same high school and college. And during those 8 years, our paths passed many times. We sat in the same classes, ate meals together. I remember one night quite vividly. We were both seniors in college and we were talking of our dreams for the future. Both of us came from strong Zionistically inclined families. Both of us had a great love for Israel. Both of us dreamt of someday settling in the land of Israel. But Alex had his dream not only for himself, but his family. And that time, Alex's wife was pregnant. And with their first child, it was his dream that while he was born in America, his child would be born in Israel. We then both graduated college. I didn't know what happened to his dream. I knew what happened to mine. On the way to Israel, I got waylaid in New Bedford and Washington and Baltimore. I'd never thought of Alex until 18 years later when I found out what happened to his dream. Alex's dream had come true. He had settled in the land of Israel. Not enough for him that he had settled in the land of Israel. He wanted even more. His great love for the state of Israel, for the people of Israel, and for the Torah of Israel compelled him not to settle in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, but to settle in one of the settlements on the West Bank referred to as Kiryat Arba in the city of Hebron. You have to understand that outside of Jerusalem, there's no city in the world more sacred to the Jew than Hebron. Our patriarchs and matriarchs are buried there. It was in Hebron that David was anointed king of Israel. For thousands of years, Jews worshipped in Hebron at the cave of our patriarchs and matriarchs. But in the 7th century, the Arabs conquered Hebron. And from the 13th century until 1967, more than 700 years, Jews were forbidden by the Arabs to enter the structure of the cave of the patriarchs or to go beyond 7 steps that lead up to it. In 1929, those Jews who still lived in Hebron were slaughtered by the Arab masses and were forced to leave. In the years following the Six-Day War, groups of Jews motivated by religious fervor and pride in their heritage, with courage and self-respect, reestablished a Jewish presence in Hebron. And I discovered that Alex's son was a student in the yeshiva that had been opened in Hebron in the early 80s. How did I know that? Because in the summer of 1983, his name was in the newspaper. Alex's son, 18 years old, was walking down the streets of Hebron when Arab terrorists slit his throat. You see, this slitting the throats of Jews that we're experiencing now is nothing new. It goes back in time, all because we live in a land that we paid for. That doesn't stop the world from calling us colonizers. That we came to Israel after the Holocaust and displaced the Arabs living there. What about Abraham buying the burial place in the Hebron? We've been there from the very start. It's the Arabs who are the colonizers. After Muhammad swept through the Arabian Peninsula, Arabs gobbled up Syria and then called Palestine and Egypt and Mesopotamia. They chipped away at the Byzantine Empire. They basically took all of the Persian Empire. Eventually, they assembled an empire with the greatest territorial extent since the Romans, encompassing 80% of the population of the Middle East and North Africa. They took it by force, not us. We just came home. You know, the Palestinian protesters around the world use as their mantra, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. You know what that means. It's fundamentally a call for a Palestinian state extending from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, territory that covers the state of Israel, which means dismantling of the Jewish state. But we paid for it, and we're not giving it back. We're still in the Hebron. We're still all over Israel. It's our homeland. And when you go to Hebron, you can walk all the way up the steps to the burial places of our patriarchs and matriarchs. But you know what? You don't have to. This was the first time I visited there since they put in an elevator. What a people. Am Yisrael Chai. The people of Israel live. The land of Israel is ours. Shabbat Shalom.
מה אשיב לאדוני כל תגמול לא היא עלי כוס ישועו אשא ובשם אדוני אקרא נדרי לאדוני אשלם נגדנה לכל עמו יקר בעיני אדוני אמרת לחסידה זבח תודה ובשם אדוני אקרא נדרי לאדוני אשלם נגדנה לכל עמו בחצרות בית אדוני ירושלים בתוככי ירושלים הללויה בחצרות בית אדוני בתוככי ירושלים